Hello again, welcome to the Signal Box once again for another video today. It's great to have you with me, and wherever you're watching from, thank you for joining me today. A big shout out to my regular viewers and subscribers, and we'll crack on with today's video and see what we have. So we have in front of me a mystery package that's just arrived in the post, my trusty little knife. So let's get inside and see what we've got today, shall we? Ooh, that's nice. That box seems to be in decent condition. What number is this? This is R074, Battle of Britain class 41 squadron. And this is the same loco, slightly different number, but the same loco that I went on the other day at Swanage. That's why I wanted it. That end of the box is just missing its little tuck-in flap there, but other than that, the box seems pretty tidy. That's nice. Margate made model. So let's get it out on the table. Okay, there is the beautiful loco out of the outer packaging and still inside the tray. I haven't taken it out yet, but look at this. That is lovely. It's got its little detail pack there. I'm going to get this out of the box properly in a minute. But what I was looking at, there's obviously bits of paper you get with it, all the instruction manuals and the current gumph you normally get with the Hornby models. But what I was a little bit confused about when I just opened this up the tent about a few seconds ago, I saw that amount of paper in there, but also this as well, which is the standard maintenance and servicing sheet. Now, I was looking for the R number, and this has got a different R number and reference on there. And what I was trying to ascertain the exact production date of this model. So if we look on here, it says R041, that's a totally different model number. And then it says 12/02/1979. So the way you read this data information is, normally the way you read this, you always start from left to right. So if you look there, you'll get the R number, which is R, then 041, which is the catalogue number. So the item is R041. So in question, it doesn't marry up because this box or this particular item number is R074. So R041 is obviously something else different. And I'm going to have to look up what number in reference to what product this was. Anyway, supposedly this piece of paper is cross-referenced to an item that is R041, which was manufactured on the 12th of the 2nd, and then at the end there, 7/9/1979. So that's for something different. So I reckon that got chucked in there by mistake. Now, the seller on eBay did say that this belonged to his late father. So it's quite a possibility that what happens is I do the same thing. Sometimes a piece of paper from something else gets stuffed in the same box, and that's how you end up cross-referencing something. Anyway, that's not for this. This is what I wanted to find. Generally speaking, this bit of paper here, if I can just do this with one hand, there we go. That's what we should have up there. Correspondence information. So then we've got R074, that's correct, matches the loco, and then you've got 300/486, which means the 30th of the 4th April 1986 was when this left the factory in Margate at the end of April, right on the end of April, last day of April 1986. Wow. So there we go, that ties up that bit of information. Not that it's that interesting, but I like little bits of history to confirm what is what. So let's get this out of the box and on the table, shall we? Right, well there she is out of the box. So I already knew when I bought this on eBay, I already knew the type of model I was going to be getting. So obviously this doesn't have any fiddly super detailed parts on it. It's the old standard Margate models, which are designed to be played with and handled with reasonable care. You buy model locomotives these days and they are just fragile, and they've got so many bits on them that you've got to be careful of, excuse me. But this thing is a good old-fashioned Margate Hornby model. Its heritage or its history steeps from the days of Hornby Triang, because you've got that retaining screw at the front there, just underneath the smoke box there. That secures the body. That's an old lineage from the days of Triang, but it's still a lovely thing. The idea is you look at it and straight away you know it's a spam can. It's a bullied engine. So starting from this end, you can see all the detail is moulded there, but it's still quite nice in my opinion. You've got the moulded wiring for the electric lights in the front there, the smoke box dart, the number, the hinges, everything's moulded, but it's still in very good condition. It's in very good condition. I'm looking at this now and I'm not seeing nothing untoward on it. The paint finish on there is quite good. The front steps are actually part of the front coupling on the front bogie, which you can remove, but it's all a separately fitted item, as opposed to the modern Hornby bullieds where you get the separately fitted detail. You've got a super glue on the front there and they tend to break off sometimes. But looking at this, and look at the wheels first of all. The wheels are actually spanking brand new. That's in really lovely condition. The cylinder blocks are in good condition, they're there. The paintwork on this thing, that's just a little bit of dust from my external light source above, but the paintwork on this is lovely. Look at that, it's all there. That's an immaculate bullied. 41 squadron. Yeah, that's beautiful. There's no glazing in the cab, unfortunately, because in those days, it was only recently that Hornby started to add glazing in the cabs of their locos, the more sort of more upmarket models and the more expensive models. But this is designed to be played with. It's designed to be handled reasonably, but it still is a nice thing. The southern region lettering on the side there is nice and intact. There's no scuff marks or scratches on there. Again, all the pipework underneath, it's all moulded, but it still looks believable. The steps and the tender, again, are a moulded thing. So again, no separately fitted detail there. It's all one mould. But the thing is, it's believable. You can see it's a bullied tender. Looking at that top shot there, you've got the air tanks and the ventilation tank and the water cap filler up there. The coal load looks believable. And that profile there between the tender and the cab roof is quite good. If you unhook the tender, like so, again, for a model of its age, it's actually very, very good. And I'm not seeing much wrong with this, I'm telling you now. It looks really, really good. It's got the recess there for the fireman's long-handed tools. We'll turn it around. The line and wheel crest and the paint job there is really spot on, immaculate. Nothing wrong with that. It's done in this gloss finish, not this matte finish. It's done in a gloss finish, so that's quite nice. As you can see, the light's picking that up. Like a glossy finish you've done it in. The detail on the back there, you've got the ladders, some rear electric lights, because the bullied had their own little generators built in on these locos, so they could generate electricity to power the headlamps and tail lamps. A nice little feature in real life as well as on the model. But as we can see there's those steps are moulded, all that detail there's moulded, coupling's present, the buffer shanks are all correct, the buffers are there, coupling's there, everything's on that is there. Might need a little bit of a dust over with a dry paintbrush to get that excess dust on there, as you can see, but I'm not too worried about that. That's an easy job. What I'm interested in is the thing is complete. So yeah, as we can see, this tender is in really good condition. But look at these wheels, guys. Look at those wheels underneath. They are shiny. Whoever's had this is if it had those either replaced, really cleaned up well, or they've never been run. I think personally this is hardly ever been run. It's one of those things where someone has bought this just for the sake of collecting it or having it on display in a cabinet or in a box to say, oh, I've got this. That's nice, but these things are designed to be played with, designed to be run on a railway. And if we look there, we can see on that shot, there's an R number for the tender. It's R38, which is the R number for this particular tender. It's a Hornby, and we can see made in England. So it's a Margate made item. And you can tell straight away by looking at this tender alone that it's not motorised, because it's got the little recess there for the hook to go into. The business end of this particular model is in the loco. So let's go and have a look at this now. So if I just bring around that way. So looking at this, there isn't much going on in the cab. I'll bring the lamp in a little bit so we can see. So there's moulded detail in there. You can pick it out with the eye, a little bit of relief detail, not much. If you really wanted to, you could sit and paint that really finely. All the detail in there with some brass copper pipe if you wanted to, and add the gauges, and you could do a little bit of fine scale work, but it's not much different. So that's as best left as it is, because it's keeps it in its true unique form that it's a 1980s or certainly mid 1980s model from Margate, and that makes it vintage. So again, looking at this model, it's got a hook and mechanism there, hook and bar hole. That hook goes onto that hole there on that tender drawbar there, like that. And that makes the connection. Obviously, there's no electrical connection on this. That's just a physical connection to pull the tender behind it. So what could we do to enhance that? Well, the only thing really, if you wanted to do it, again, the handrails on here, on the loco and all around the general loco with tender, they're all moulded. There's no separately fitted handrail detail on this thing. It's again a very basic mid 1980s model from Margate, from Hornby. There were quite a few models on the market from Hornby in those days that had things like separately fitted handrails. I mean, my Duchess of Sutherland, I mean, that thing was made in 1978/79. That's got moulded, that's got separately fitted handrails on the loco. So this obviously hasn't, but it's still a very nice model. I always actually wanted one of these, so I'm pleased I've got one. So what could we do to enhance the cab area? Well, if I wanted to, I'm not going to, but I'm just saying, as a suggestion, if you as the modeler wanted to do this, you could get some glazing sheets, and you could at least put some glazing in the cab windows if you wanted to. You could add a little full plate between the loco and the tender. If you cut and measured it correctly, you could put a full plate on there. Obviously taking into account the clearance for the swing on curves and point work, that sort of thing. If you wanted to put a full plate on there, you could. The most basic of detail we could do with this is add a footplate crew, and guess what comes with it? All this lovely little bag of goodies. We've got, what we got in there? We got the footplate crew, Southern Region head code discs, lamps. They've even got fire iron tools in there. Oh, that's nice, and a vacuum pipe. So all that detailing is in there. That's lovely. Well, that comes in handy. So that's going to enhance that massively. So we'll look at that side. I don't know what it is, but every time I see a bullied engine, the first thing I always notice is the wheels. They are such unique looking, lovely wheels. Those cut recesses instead of spokes. Bullied designed the wheels in such a way that they counterbalance them in terms of weight and revolution, compared to a spoked wheel. On a steam locomotive driving wheel, if they're spoked, normally on, for example, Midland engine or any other kind of engine apart from a Southern engine, i.e. a bullied engine, you had a counterweight balance which was normally about 5 o'clock on each wheel. So as the wheel went round, it helped it balance correctly and also rotate nicely, and gain momentum. It's all to do with balancing and that sort of thing. But on the bullied ones, they had these different, not solid wheels, but the recessed kind of wheels. And the way Bullied designed all these engines with those wheels, I just think they look really, really nice. So the con rods there look in really good condition. That's a good sign. and we're just going to carefully turn around this way, have a look on the other side. So from cab to smoke box in, we'll do a quick run through. So again, the cab number on the side there is correct. The paint job is lovely, not a mark on that. Look at that. I'm going to zoom in on that nameplate. That's lovely, and everything on there is very, very nice and in good condition. Not a single chip or mark on that. That's lovely. There's a bit of polystyrene on there. Little wet finger. We'll get rid of that. Look at these wheels. Wow. I'm going to flip it over onto its side so we can have a little look underneath, like so. And I can see straight away there's a little tiny bit of blackness on those flanges there. That's easy peasy to clean off with some meths and a cotton bud. Very, very simple little job. Everything else on there looks pretty good. Yep. Just needs a little bit of a dust and clean, like this bogey here. Take a dry toothbrush and just clean that up a little bit. Not much to do. Not much to do at all. I can see there's pickups there. That's present. I can see a nice juicy X04 motor in there as well. Ooh, have to have a look at that in a little bit. That's interesting. Everything looks really tidy underneath there though. Really does look very tidy. And it's just a matter of just a very, very quick light dust and clean those wheels up. But yeah, it looks very, very good. What I'm gonna do is just get it back on its side. Then I think what I'm gonna do is get this off to the workshop in a little bit, off the Stratford Works, and give it a little bit of TLC. And I don't doubt for a minute this thing will fire up. Now the interesting thing is about these particular locos is that because they've got their strong ancestry, because they've got their strong ancestry deep in the heart of Triang, Hornby Triang, they did release a few of these with smoke units in. And some of these came with a smoke unit. I think the earlier ones did. And I think it still retains the facility for that. I don't know. I don't think this one had a smoke unit in it. So I'm going to be interested to take this body off in a minute and have a little look and clean things up. But speaking as a whole, as a general comment on this particular loco that I've got today, she is a cracker. That's lovely. Very well happy with that. Well and truly happy with that. And I haven't got one of these, so I'm very happy. Looking at the top briefly, there isn't much detail. It's all moulded. The only thing that I like about looking at this top shot is the chimney profile and the rivets. Okay, so moving on, we're just going to close now with this video, or this section of the video. So I'll be back in a minute because I anticipate another parcel appearing in the next hour or so. So what I might do is chuck it in with this video rather than doing two separate videos. It makes sense. So I'm not going to tell you what the next parcel is. You'll just have to wait around for that. But by the magic of YouTube continuity, it will be in the next shot. But in reality, I'll probably have to wait another hour or two before the postman comes. But anyway, by the time that's elapsed and by the time that arrives, it will be in the next shot. So go and make yourself a beverage of your choice, and I'll see you soon in the next clip for that. Okay, so we're waiting for the other parcel to arrive, and I did say that I was going to try and cram everything into one video rather than just doing 2 separate uploads. Makes more sense. This means for a slightly longer video today, but if you're okay with that, we'll crack on. So I'm taking the body shell off. Something interesting has just been revealed. This mass of wires, I know exactly what this is. This is a DCC chip. Someone's obviously converted this to run in DCC. To convert this back to DC analog is simple. It's just a little bit of a puzzle, and it shouldn't take long to work that out anyway. So I'm going to just lop all these wires off and get rid of that little chip on there. They didn't advertise that, which was a bit unusual. But anyway, it's not a problem. We can just rectify that and reconvert it back to analog. So I'm just going to get on with doing this, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so here we are again. It's a couple of hours later. It's been that long because I've had to fathom out this thing. This was sort of a DCC chip, but it's not. This actually I found out is the original Hornby R074 module chip, and that's how old it is, 1980. So this is the forerunner of the DCC chip system that you've got in all the most modern trains these days. The original Hornby idea for DCC control, this little 01 chip, that's what that is. So we didn't need that anymore, so we got rid of that. But then I noticed the TV suppressor unit, which is normally on the back here, on this little tag, that was missing. So I had to kind of fathom out how to hardwire or re-hardwire everything and get everything to work properly. It took a little bit of faffing around, but anyway, what I've done basically, so I've soldered this green wire from this tag on the back, which is screwed to the chassis, and then that goes to that side of the brush on the motor. And then looking over the other side, the yellow insulated sleeve, we've got a tag coming off that brush that goes directly to that pickup, and then a wire from that pickup goes underneath the motor, as you can see here, and comes out onto the tag that matches that wheel. So we've got pickups there, a tag on that side of the brush for the corresponding pickups that side, and then this side we've got a wire that goes from the brush to that screw, and that fitting on the back there, that tag. So we put everything back together, and we realised we was getting short after short after short, and I couldn't fathom out what it was. So what I've done, rather crudely, I've taken a piece of sandpaper and I've just wedged it underneath the magnet of that motor, that chassis. So what it's doing, it's actually lifting it clear of the chassis. It's providing an insulation method, so it's not directly shorting out on contact with the live chassis. So I think that solved that problem. You'll see in a minute anyway. What I've done in service and cleaning wise, I've stripped this motor right down. I've cleaned the commutator with some methylated spirits. I've given the whole thing a scooch out with our trusty friend WD-40 contact cleaner. Brilliant stuff, as used by 00 Bill. And I've given that a complete spray out and clean out, got all the muck and grease out of there. There wasn't much, so we just gave that a clean out, then cleaned the commutator with some methylated spirits and a cotton bud, cleaned the brushes up as well, oiled everything, the worm drive and drivetrain, the com rods I've polished up as well. The wheels I've given a clean, both the face of the wheels and the rims, so they're better. Everything is there. But we made 2 schoolboy errors. When I took off the cylinder block, and I accidentally snapped it in 2. So I had to super glue it, and no one knows the better because it's okay. It's all back together. You never know, but that happened, so I had to glue that back together. It's not a problem. The problem was though, the motor wasn't turning once I put everything in and back together. So I took the motor out, and the chassis was running really stiff and very lumpy, and I thought, okay, maybe it's a quartering issues with the wheels. So I checked all the wheels 6 times on each wheel, per wheel 6 times. I really checked everything quartering wise, and it didn't make sense because every single wheel was lined up. It should be 12 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 3 o'clock. It should be quartered correctly, and everything was quartered correctly. But however, there still was an issue, and it was still running pretty lumpy. So I couldn't understand what it was, and then it just hit me like a frying pan in the face. I had put the cylinder block on upside down, so this piston was actually sitting down there going in, and that's why it was struggling to go around. So I've got everything connected up. Excuse these chunky red and black cables, but I'm going to fire it up and you'll be able to see that it runs quite nicely. I'm just going to temporarily do something here if I can without it getting in the way. There we go. I'll try and make this work, or not. There we go. That runs quite sweetly, as you can hear. Whoops. Okay, we're back there like that. Come on. Behave. There we go. When I first powered this up, it was quite noisy. But as you can hear, the more it's running in, the sweeter it's starting to sound. So there we go. So that's a completely serviced Hornby R074 motor and chassis. I'm now going to put it all back together, and I'm going to show you item number 2 that finally arrived in the post just a while ago. So let's get this back together. So now you've seen it run, and we will get everything assembled and take it from there. Okay, so here is box number 2 that arrived today. So let's see what's inside, shall we? Okay, the waiting is over. So we see what was in the big box, or box, earlier. This is what was in the box. How about that? Isn't that lovely? That is a fully assembled and very detailed Metcalfe station building. I got this from a chap on, well, actually from a shop on eBay, up in Yorkshire, model railway shop, and they do a building service for Metcalfe kits, and I actually had to wait 3.5 weeks for this in the post for them to put it together and send it to me. I just got it today, but my goodness. Now it comes with station advertisements and posters, which I've just fitted earlier, as you can see, and I'm rather pleased with those. I think they look really nice. I love those. And again, much like the brewery kit I've got on my model railway, this is the same standard. It's very nice. It's assembled to a very high standard. The only thing that I've added since I've unboxed it earlier was, number 1, add all the different signages and the posters that they give you in the sheet, which is nice. They chuck those in for you to fit and how you want it. But the chimney pots and the chimney breasts I've slightly weathered with some Humbrol weathering powder, some soot effect. So I've just dulled those down a little bit on top there. As you can see, I've dulled them down a little much better, I think. Kind of a helicopter shot there. Just a little bit of weathering really makes those a little bit more realistic. I don't want it bright grey, so it looks a little bit dulled, as a chimney pot and chimney breast should be. But what a lovely little building, and it's got a little secret to it. I'll just start off with this building here. If we just very carefully spin it round, hang on, I'll zoom out, which is better, isn't it? Isn't that lovely? So I've stuck a ladies' room sign there because that's the ladies, and then the other side there is the gentlemen's. I didn't realise I just went for it and stuck it on the top there. I didn't realise actually they're pre-labelled there. So you've got the gents' waiting room there, and the ladies the opposite, so it was correctly labelled, so that was a stroke of luck. But very nice. I love this building. It's very, very lovely. I think it's great. And for a card kit, I think these card kits are becoming vastly popular on people's layouts because they're so detailed, very three-dimensional, as you can see, and also they're just ridiculously lightweight. I mean, I can attach this to my layout permanently with some glue, and that's where it's going to stay. So that's the ladies and gents toilet block there. Glazing on there's lovely. Look at that. What a lovely bit of glazing on there. And I couldn't do any better myself. I'm really good at putting plastic kits together and most model kits, but the card kits, they need a lot of work and craft skill on that. Look at that. I'll spin it round to the back so you can have a little look as well. Again, I've just stuck those posters on there. I think they look quite nice. Really love that. So onto the main building, it's got a little bit of a secret, which is why it cost a little bit extra to purchase. But that's the, I'll bring the camera down, that's beautiful, isn't it? That actually reminds me of North Woolwich, the old station building at North Woolwich, that canopy there. A little bit, but it's got a little secret I'll show you in a minute. Unless you spot it already. I'll try not to reveal it until in a second, but let's come down this level with the camera, and as you can see, it's really lovely made. And my lamp on my shelf above my bed is naturally flooding through those windows there, light source wise. It's really lovely, and this is part of my early birthday present, so I'm happy chappy. And it's definitely a nice replacement compared to the Hornby Scaledale buildings I used to have. So this is going to be a very welcome addition. But before I glue it down permanently on my baseboard, I've got to actually trace around the footprint of this building for a reason, and I'll show you why it cost a little bit extra, because it's got LEDs inside. Yep, it lights up, so it illuminates, so that's going to look really lovely all lit up. It's out of the two buildings, this one has lights, so it's 12 volts, so that's quite nice. So I can power that up with my power pack for my layout lighting, no problem. What I'll do, I'll stick a resistor on the end of this as well to just to make sure that we can drop the voltage ever so slightly as well. But that's going to look real nice, and I'm very pleased with that. What a lovely building, eh? I think this is the way to go for model railway buildings on your layout. I've seen quite a few layouts on YouTube that have got card kits, specifically Metcalfe buildings. They are really nice. The Hornby Scaledale buildings, they're okay. I've got quite a lot on my layout, but they are just quite heavy. These are very fragile though, these buildings. Having said that, little things like the chimney pots, you got to be careful you don't knock. But once it's in place on the baseboard and out the way, it should be good to go. It's going to be in an area that's not going to get knocked when it's in storage anyway, so that's a bonus. Yeah, but what a lovely building, eh? Anyway, that's the close of the video today. So there is my station, little Beddington station, as it were. It's going to kind of sit a bit like that when it's all done. So it's quite a nice little structure. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked today's video, all the bits and pieces I threw in as one video for you. And a big shout out to my regular viewers as well. And special hello to Andrew Rice out there as well. Always appreciate your comments, and I hope you're okay in the family. And big shout out to you and everybody, Eric, and everybody that normally tunes into the videos. Take care, and thanks for watching. And I'll see you soon, and we shall have some trains running in the next video, hopefully. All right, take care now. Bye-bye.